Tonight on Sports Saturday, would Alabama's basketball season end in Anthony Grant's hometown? The Tide was trying to wash out the Hurricanes in the NIT. We've got the highlights. Plus, the madness marches on. Kentucky tried to claw their way past the Bearcats, but Cincy had other things in mind. Could the Cats make history?
You can miss them all. No, you can't miss them all. You can miss most of them.
And a pair of nationally ranked teams on the diamond invade Bama. Softball tries to bite the Gators back in a World Series rematch. And Gaspard and the guys were looking to give the Aggies their first loss of the year.
Continue to fight, fight, fight.
So on your marks, get set, let's go! We don't have big heads, but we've got more sports than anyone around. Are you excited, Mr. President? Oh, hail to the chief, yeah. And we hope to reel you in right now. Presidential start to Sports Saturday. The Commander-in-Chief himself was in attendance for today's Princeton basketball game. His niece plays for Princeton, and the Tigers, well, they're a great story. Even without the Prez, they defeated Green Bay today in the NCAA Women's Tournament to move to 31-0 on the season. Perfection for Princeton as they move to the second round of the NCAA Tournament. President Obama, very happy as an uncle. Pretty cool to be the niece of the president. Cooler to be on Sports Saturday. Welcome in, everybody. I'm BJ. She's Jen. And Jen, it hasn't been a perfect year for Alabama in 2015, but they had a chance themselves to advance in postseason.
That's right. Alabama basketball team in Miami facing the Hurricanes in the second round of the NIT. Levi Randolph hoping this wouldn't be his final game in a crimson uniform. It was another senior getting it going for Bama early. Rodney Cooper knocks down the three-pointer to give the Tide an early lead. Levi chipping in as well. He gets the strip and the pass ahead for the dunk.
Nice
Another
reverse.
big game for Levi as well. Right before the half, already up 2. Retin Obasahan puts them up 4 with this buzzer beater. And they're heading into halftime with a 4-point lead.
That's right, but once again, I am the bearer of bad news. The Hurricanes go on a 17-2 run. DeAndre Burnett finds Sheldon McClellan for the flush. Sheldon. Whose name's Sheldon? Miami ties it up, but then it's Burnett himself getting hot from beyond the arc. Bang! One of his 3 trays, 13 for him off the bench. Alabama falls 73-66. The Tide season's over. Here's John Brannon after the game.
You know, what I told them in the locker room was, when you get an opportunity to reveal your character, and when adversity sets in, later on in life you're going to refer back to how you reacted to that adversity. And instead of running for the hills, these guys took it straight on and played with passion, played with great emotion, and played for each other.
This team, we're a team that fights, so I'm just happy to be a part of this team, and I love those guys.
So a tough way to end it for those seniors, but Cooper and Levi led the way for the Tide. 20 for Coop, 17 with Levi, along with 7 boards. They move on, as in they're done with their careers. The Anthony Grant era officially ends in his hometown of Miami, 19 wins on the season.
And speaking of Anthony Grant, he'll make his first public appearance tomorrow on the Tube since being fired a week ago. He'll be a part of the in-studio coverage for the NCAA tournament. He'll be a guest analyst along with Matt Weiner, Mateen Cleaves, and Seth Davis. Matt Weiner, excuse me. Alabama will have a little company looking for a new head coach. Mississippi State announced today that it has fired Rick Ray. Ray was 37-60 in 3 seasons in Starkville. He had a 2 years left on his contract. A big thing missing at both Mississippi State and Alabama was trips to the NCAA tournament. The dance continued with the 3rd round on Saturday.
That's right, and one Alabama team remains alive, the UAB Blazers, and they were taking on perennial powerhouse, those 4 letters, Jen, UCLA. Jared Haas has the Blazers in the second round for the first time since 2005, and they were on fire, in fuego in Spanish. Robert Brown gathers the loose ball, goes coast to coast for the layup, the early 3-point lead. Brown was not done. Chris Coakley hands off to Brown. He buries the long jumper. A big day for the Virginia Tech transfer. 25 on the day for him, but the offense, hey, that wasn't the issue for the Blazers. It was this, defense. Namely, stopping Tony Parker. He gets the N1 there to tie the game up. Second half, more of the same. Bryce Alford and Parker lead the Bruins to the Sweet 16, 92-75. The final, here's Coach Haas after the game.
The good times are off the chart.
and it is supposed to be this way. When you invest so much and you have the bad times, it's supposed to hurt, and that's a good thing. And that I know there's a lot of programs that preach family and talk about family, but this team really was.
We're going to remember this feeling, and it's not fun. You know, it hurts a lot, but, you know, when we get to this point next year, we're going to realize, you know, we remember that feeling from last March, you know, that hurt. So we're going to go out and use that as motivation.
In the Midwest region, Kentucky trying to become the first team to ever go 36-0. Taking on Cincinnati. Early on, the Wildcats were cold, real cold. 3 of their first 18 from the field. That allowed the Bearcats to claw their way to a lead. Shaq Thomas finishes the break with a dunk there. But Kentucky is going to be Kentucky. They're still good. While watching Willie Cauley-Stein with a vicious dunk, the Cats were on top. 10-zip run to finish the first half. And the second half wasn't much better for Cincy. Kentucky runs away with a 64-51 win. Coach Cal was happy despite the tough start.
I always like it when my team shoots 37, 36, 35% and wins in double digits. It shows them they don't have to make shots to win. You miss them all. No, you can't miss them all. You can miss most of them. And you can still win games if you defend, you rebound, and you play that way. Make your free throws, and they did.
There you go, Coach. Can't miss them all. The only other SEC team alive, the Arkansas Razorbacks, check that. They are no longer alive. Here's a look at how Mike Anderson's team did against Fort Stewart in North Carolina. They fall tonight, 87-78, ending their season. So the madness still ongoing. More highlights tomorrow when the Sweet 16 is officially set in stone.
But next, a little madness for Alabama gymnastics as they try to take home an SEC championship on the mat. Highlights are coming up. Plus, we've got highlights from a top 5 matchup in softball. Alabama hosting Florida in a doubleheader, a rematch of last year's Women's College World Series coming up next.
There you go. As we head to break, here's a look at the other NCAA tournament games. We'll be back shortly on Sports Saturday.
Back on Sports Saturday, Bama's 4th-ranked softball team hosting 2nd-ranked Florida, game 1 of a doubleheader. Check out the defense. Haley McClenny robs the Florida batter of a base hit. Great stretch there. And then Bama would get things going at the plate. Callie Case with a shot to left. That brings around Andrea Hawkins, and she's going to go home, and she is out at the plate. That would prove to be costly. Still scoreless in the 6th when Nicole DeWitt pokes this one through the middle. A run scores, and that's all the Gators needed. They win game 1. 1-0. Highlights of game 2 in just a bit. But first, Alabama gymnastics team was in Duluth, Georgia today for a little SEC championship action.
That's right. Alabama defending their title from last year. It was a little mojo for the Tide. They used the same rotation that won it a year ago. Lauren Beers had a strong night. She posted a 39.500 to take 3rd in the all-around. Caitlin Clark shared top honors on the vault with a 9.95. And look at there. They finished it off on the uneven bars and were able to edge out the LSU Tigers. They win the SEC championship back-to-back for the 2nd time in program history. Here's Dana Duckworth's strategy tonight.
Honestly, I have to tell you that our focus tonight was to be task warriors. We did not think, I did not know where anybody was. I knew after our performance on Bean that someone was ahead of us. I didn't know how far. I didn't want to know. I wanted Alabama to put 4 events together. We did it. It wasn't perfect. We have room for improvement, but it just goes to show everyone that if you just continue to fight, that everyone has to do 4 events.
I would not want to fight Dana. She's got the guns. Here's how it looked. The Tide with a narrow win over LSU. It's Alabama's 9th SEC title. They'll find out their regional destination on Monday. They'll announce that at 2 p.m. on NCAA.com. The regionals 2 weeks from tonight. So
personally,
congrats.
I'm a big fan of her wardrobe. She has a top-notch wardrobe.
I mean, I wouldn't know much about that, but
love it.
I'm going to trust you. Not a bad start, though, to the Duckworth era, right?
Correct. That legacy they're always talking about was right there.
That's right.
Alabama softball also defending their regular season title, but they couldn't get past the defending national champs in game 1. So how would game 2 go against the Gators? It was a little wet out there tonight. Bottom of the 2nd, Danielle Richards. She's going to get on base with a single to left, and Alabama is in business. So here comes a little base running. A couple of batters later, Richard is headed to 3rd. The ball off the 3rd baseman's glove and into left field. Richard scores, and Bama goes up 1-0. Florida would get into the scoring position in the fourth, but rain would halt the game. So they'll resume that game at 3:30 on Monday afternoon with Florida still batting, Bama up 1-0, and then game 3 will be played at 6 p.m. A lot of tough competition in town to play Crimson Tide teams, but none of them came in undefeated except one.
Just one. The Texas A&M Aggies had played 23 games heading into tonight, Jen. They'd won 23 games. Not easy to do in baseball.
Pretty good.
Alabama was playing well in game 1. Mitch Greer gets a strikeout here, but the Aggies scored 4 runs in the 8th to get a 10-5 win in game 1. We move ahead to game 2. First inning, Chance Vincent at the dish with 2 on, laces a triple down the line and right, and that scores a couple. Bama knocks off A&M, handing them their first loss of the year, 6-2 your final. So now Texas A&M is 24-1. There you go. Stay with us. More Sports Saturdays coming up, including a little
fishing. And maybe the exact opposite of fishing, track and field. So stay with us. Sports Saturday will be right back after this. The John Mitchell Alabama relays concluded today at the Sam Bailey Track Stadium. In the women's 100-meter, returning All-American from the 4x1, Sarah Thomas, took the decisive win in 11.81 seconds. The men's field included professional sprinter Mookie Solemn, who trains in Tuscaloosa under Matt Cain. He won in 10.31. Alabama junior Ahmed Ali in fourth with 10.5. 800 women's field was completely stacked. Alabama State Conference champ Tatiana Etnan would end up getting the win, edging out Yannick Malcolm. And then on the men's side, Alabama sophomore Jacoby Laube took the lead on the final turn to win in 1:50.89. So a very fast pace at the relays today. And from the track, we go now to the pond, fishing.
That's right. Track and fishing don't usually go together, but tonight they do. Very competitive day over on Lake Tuscaloosa. That's right, it's the Alabama Bass National State Qualifier. 117 teams around the Southeast participated bright and early this morning. First place team would earn $2,000 worth of scholarship money plus a trip to the national championship in July. And those lucky winners were Braden Lovely and Connor Edwards from American Christian Academy. These guys are just 8th graders. Amazing. They caught 11.33 pounds. They earned a berth to the national championship in Kentucky. And that's all we've got for you tonight. Congratulations to those guys. We're going to be back tomorrow for a little Sports Sunday.
That's right. So join us tomorrow night for Sports Sunday. Good night.